Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So this is, I think, the most awaited and a video after so long. It's been like 2 months I have posted my last long format video about my articleship experience in Deloitte, and post that I haven't posted anything in long format. I have been pretty consistent when it comes to short format and vlogs, but when it comes to like long format, I have been pretty inconsistent. So, okay, this video is going to be all about industrial training. So, I have recently joined Reckitt Benckiser for my industrial training in the finance domain in Gurgaon location. And I have been getting a lot many questions around that. Like, how did you apply? Why? How did you decide to go for finance domain? How did you decide for Reckitt Benckiser only? Then, what are the interview questions that they ask? How did you apply? Did you have any reference? And should you go for industrial training or not? So, in this video, I'll be answering all your questions except for should you go for industrial training or not. So this decision of going to industrial training or continuing your articleship is a pretty long topic in its own. So I'll be making another video to talk about should you go for industrial training or not. But apart from that particular question, I'll be answering all your questions about industrial training in this particular video. So without wasting any further minute, let's dive into the video. So the first question that I was asked was, how did you decide that you want to go in a finance domain? So there are, if I can figure out, there are majorly 3 domains where industrial training is offered. First is the finance domain, second is the investment banking domain, and third is the internal audit. These are the 3 most offered and most chosen domain, I would say. So in finance domain also there are subdomains like commercial finance, they can offer you supply finance. Financial planning and analysis is also a domain that you could be offered. Then when it corporate finance and business finance. Okay, there are majorly 5 subdomains when it comes to finance domain. Then when it comes to investment banking domain, there are other subdomains. First is the product control. Then it comes to risk and security compliance, something like that. Security analysis and banking and insurance sector, which is I think offered only by JP Morgan as far as I can remember. And then when it comes to internal audit is a domain in its own only. Okay, internal audit doesn't have any subdomains as such. It can only have industries. So from the first day when I was looking for industrial training, I did not have a particular domain in mind that I need to go in this particular domain. Only thing I had was I will not go for internal audit, because since I did my articleship in internal audit, I had no reasons to go for internal audit because I did not like it. I did not have that much inclination towards that I want to make my career in internal audit, or I would want to continue working in internal audit. So I had this one pretty clear thing in my mind that I will not go for internal audit because I have already done my articleship and I already have exposure in that. So I have only 2 options left. I had only 2 options left. First was finance domain and second was investment banking domain. Now, investment banking domain is pretty much hyped. Okay, it's all over internet that investment bankers earn in crores, lakhs, and it is, a pretty much hyped domain, I would say. So when I was talking to my seniors, when I was talking to the people who are working as an investment banker and people who are working as a finance executive or a finance senior in any of the particular industry, one common thing I was suggested was, since it's your initial career, since you are in a very early stages of your career, choose a domain which you can work for lifelong. See, what happens is, which was my perspective, okay, everybody has their own perspective to their life. Everybody can have different opinions. What my opinion was, I'm just telling you my experiences and my opinion. Okay, a very big disclaimer. So what my opinion was, that I will start my early careers in a domain where I'm most interested towards, where I'm most inclined towards, where I can get better exposure and where I can see myself working in long term. Because if you have that experience from the early careers, that will help you in your later careers. It is what I think. If you have experience about a particular domain from the beginning of your career, so it can help you grow pretty much faster. So if I like giving you an example, if I start my career in internal audit, I work for it for like 4 years and I don't like it. Okay, I cannot continue it for the elongated period of time. And then I switch. Then I have to start from the scratch in the new domain. And this could hamper my salary structure, of course, my growth also, and of course my positions, like my promotions and everything, that could hamper a lot many things. So I thought that I should start from a career or a domain which I could continue for lifelong. This could help me grow at a much faster pace in terms of exposure also, and in terms of course money consideration also. So this was my thought process. So when I was choosing for myself between finance and investment banking, I had a word with so many people, and I'm going to give a gist of you that what they told me. They were from different investment banks, they were from different industries when it comes to finance. Okay. So in investment banking, industrial trainees are offered a very back-end role. You will be offered role relating to reconciliations, basic costing, basic calculations, and all other accounting work. Nothing major brainstorming work. You will be offered only that work which is back-end. So I was not ready for taking up a very back-end role which is not giving me a good learning in any way. It will give me learning for 1 or 2 months, but then it will become a monotonous task because you're just accounting things, or you're just calculating the trade price, or you're just calculating the cost, or you're just doing the basic calculations. That might not be basic, okay, but I'm just talking from investment banking point of view, that for investment banking as a whole domain, that calculation is very basic and you are doing that. But I was not ready for taking up that kind of role, because I wanted something which is giving me a great exposure in that 1.5 years also when I'm doing my industrial training. Post qualification, I might get a different role in investment banking, but for industrial training also I was not ready to settle down for a thing which is very basic when it comes to investment banking as a whole. So I was looking for a role which will give me a exposure throughout, in my industrial training also and post my industrial training also, post qualification also. Then I came to know about the finance domain that gives you exposure, you will be given the core task. That you'll be given the core task. I think, in my point of view, was a more experience giving or a more exposure giving task or a domain for me. So that is why I chose finance domain for my industrial training. This was the reason, and this was the thing which I chose for myself. Of course, there could be different point of views, and when I was talking to my seniors also, there were thousands of views that they gave to me. Okay, that they gave to me. But I chose for myself finance domain because I could not see myself in investment banking doing a back-end role. This was just a personal choice. This is not something which is universal. You could have a different choice, and even people across India, students across India, are doing their industrial training in investment banking. It is a very good domain if you talk about. It's a very, very pretty much good domain. It offers you good salary, good exposure in long term. But this was something not for me. So I did not choose for investment banking and chose for finance domain. Now coming to the second question, that is, why did I choose Reckitt? So I had two things in mind, that I want to stay in Gurgaon because Gurgaon is very near to my hometown, that is Gwalior. It just takes me approximately 5 hours door to door. So I was like, yeah, I cannot go to Mumbai or Bangalore or Hyderabad or Pune or Calcutta for my industrial training, because it's very far from my hometown, and I am a person who wants to visit my hometown every month. Okay, I cannot stay apart from my parents for more than a month. So I had to go to my hometown every month. So I cannot stay apart from my parents. I was like that I want something which is near to my hometown. So Gurgaon was the only place which I could find. So I needed my industrial training only in Gurgaon, and Reckitt is the only company that provides me that is in Gurgaon, which provides this finance domain, and a very reputed company. So Reckitt is a FMCG company, and it has various very famous brands like Harpic, Lysol, Mortein, Durex, and Robin, Wheat, Dettol. Okay, so there are so many famous brands which Reckitt makes. So I was like, it is a good company, having a good growth rate, and FMCG in itself is a very growing sector. Like MobiKwik also provides industrial training in the FP&A domain, but I personally wanted to go in a product-facing company and not a service-based company. This was my personal choice, and it was just a personal interest that I am much more fascinated towards products than a service. So that is why I went for Reckitt. Now talking about the interviews. So Reckitt has 2 rounds of interview, and most of the companies in industrial training takes 2 rounds of interviews. Some companies have like a structure of 3 and 4 rounds of interviews also, but when I talk about majority of the companies have a structure of 2 rounds of interviews. Both rounds are technical. There is nothing called as HR round like in Articleship here. Okay, so there is no concept of HR round unlike Articleship. So both the rounds are technical. Now what kind of questions are asked? So if I talk about majority of the companies, they'll ask you Ind AS 115, which is revenue from customers, 116, which is leases, financial instruments, which is 109, and they could ask you some questions around TDS, TCS also. Like if I talk about 194C, so like if you have a contract with Flipkart, what is the percentage of TDS you'll be deducting from the amount you pay to Flipkart? So since Flipkart is your contractor, you have a contract with Flipkart, so you'll be deducting at like 2%, which is, I think it's 2% only. Under 194C for other than individual and HCF, you have 2%, and for individual HCF, you have 1%, as far as I can remember, or it's vice versa, I think. Okay, this is basically what they ask. TDS, TCS, something around that they'll ask you. And they'll ask you basic questions around your articleship experience. Thorough your articleship experience, thorough it. I mean, this is the most asked thing, and this thing contains most weightage because you only have your articleship experience with you. Okay, so thorough your articleship experience. What kind of work did you do? On what clients did you work? In what work did you do? Now, minute things they can ask you. In what work did you do? So suppose you were internal audit, they could ask you what are the major observations you put up. What was the management response? How did you come to that conclusion of the observation? Like how did you find that? What were the testings you did? Okay, what were the type of analysis you did in your articleship? Now, in that also, like if you have written in a resume that you did your articleship from a particular, you worked on this particular client, and that client was a steel manufacturing company, they could ask you anything around steel manufacturing company. Okay, so thorough your articleship experience and thorough your resume. Whatever you have written in your resume should be true. Don't lie in your resume. Do not lie in your resume. Okay. Not even your achievements. If you were not president of Eco Club, it doesn't make any sense. Being a president of Eco Club or not doesn't make any difference in your resume. So don't lie in your resume. Okay. So in in industrial training interviews, this is a major topic which they ask around, like your articleship experience, Ind AS 115, 116, 109. Also, they could ask you like business combinations if the interviewer is bit not in a mood. Okay, they could ask you around AFM also. If your interview is in an investment banking company, they could ask you around AFM also, like what derivatives are. Okay, what are the accounting entries you do for derivatives? Accounting entries are in FR, but still they could ask you. Okay, so they could ask you anything around portfolio management if your role is regarding that. So first, read the JD, like what the role is. Understand what the role is. Connect to the people who are working in that role. Ask them that what day-to-day work they do, and then start preparing for your interview. Majorly 2 rounds of interviews are conducted, like majority of the cases, but sometimes some companies take 3 or 4 rounds of interview as well. Like DE Shaw like takes 3 or 4 rounds. 4 rounds of interviews they take. Okay, so there could be any like 4 is the maximum rounds they take, and 1 is the minimum, of course. So like UBS takes 1 round of interview. It is an investment banking company. Amazon takes 2 rounds of interviews, or I should say 3 rounds of interviews. DE Shaw takes 4 rounds of interview. Reckitt takes 2 rounds of interviews. Flipkart also takes, I think, 1 or 2 depending upon which cycle they're hiring in, and many more things. So these are the number of rounds industrial training interviews are there. So the last question is that how to apply for industrial training. So all the vacancies which are there for industrial training, like majority, 90% of the vacancies will come on LinkedIn, and on that LinkedIn post you'll have an email ID. Just mail your resume to that particular email ID and you are sorted. Because see, what happens is, unlike articleship, the competition in industrial training is less. The people who are applying for industrial training is less, and so like the vacancies. So competition is more or less the same only, but I would say that the vacancies are very much consistent, are pretty much sorted. There's nothing cluttered. unlike articleship. So in articleship you have like portal reference, then you have like cold emailing, then you have a reference, a proper direct reference. So unlike articleship, there is nothing here in like industrial training. Some of the articleship vacancies are not even posted on LinkedIn, but here for industrial training, all the vacancies will get on LinkedIn in the job section, or in the post also. Many people post about industrial training, so you'll get the vacancies. Don't worry about that. So you just mail your resume to that particular email ID, and what content you can use is here. You can use this particular format for mailing your resume to the particular company or to the particular HR, whoever it is. So you could just mail your resume and you're sorted. If your resume is shortlisted, you will get a call. If your resume is not shortlisted, you won't get a call. Pretty simple. Okay, you could ask your friends or any person who is working in that particular company to refer you. They could simply send your resume to HR. I have seen, as far as I know, there is no concept of portal reference here. If you want to ask your senior or anybody who's working at company to refer your resume, they can directly mail it to HR, or they could, if that company has a portal where all the resumes are being posted, that particular person who is working at company who have asked to refer your resume would send your resume to the portal also. So there are basically 2-3 ways you can ask for reference on LinkedIn only basically. And more or less, you could just send your resume to the HR and take regular feedbacks, regular follow-ups. And regular follow-ups, that doesn't mean you're mailing the HR every day. After the first mail, wait at least a week. And then you can take a follow-up every 3 days or 4 days. Okay. After your interview also, if you don't get a call, suppose you gave a first round and you did not get a call, just take a follow-up after 2 days or 3 days of an interview. Don't call. Even don't call your HR. Okay, just don't directly just ring her up. She's not your friend. Okay, you could SMS her, or a pretty simple way or a pretty formal way is just drop her a mail. Okay, just drop her a mail. If you have been constantly talking for like 2-3, if you've already talked for like 2-3 times and you are like in the 4th or the 5th leg of your interview process and everything, you could just WhatsApp her. Okay, nothing more than that. Don't ring her up directly, at least till the time you're not selected. SMS or email is a good option. If she follows a WhatsApp route, you could WhatsApp her as well, but don't ring her up directly. Okay, so this is all what I wanted to tell you about industrial training. If you have any questions apart from this, you can comment in the comment section below. You could ask those questions on my Telegram channel as well. I have a Telegram channel. Link is in the description box below. Click there, join my Telegram channel. You could ask your questions there as well. If you have any personal specific doubt related to you, which is like you're stuck in a particular position or you're stuck in a particular situation, you could just book a top mate session with me. Link to book a top mate session is in the description box below. It's just a nominal fees, and you could talk to me directly and I could solve your doubts one-to-one. Whatever I tell in this video is very general. About the investment banking and finance domain decision is also very general and very not very specific. Your case will be different. Your case will be different. Your case could not be same like anybody else. So you need a personal specific guidance. If you need a personal specific or one-to-one guidance, you can book a top mate session with me using the link in the description box below. So I'll see you guys in the next video. And the most important question here comes is, should you go for industrial training or not? Should you decide? How will you decide that you don't want to continue, you will not continue your articleship and you will go for industrial training? How should you decide? What are the parameters you should consider? Those questions will be answered in the next upcoming video. So kindly wait for that. So this is it for today's video. Thank you so much guys for watching the video till the end. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, stay happy, stay safe. Bye-bye.